A busy cricket season means only one thing, that is talking cricket, talking cricket, talking cricket. Welcome back to the associate angle. We talk about the associate teams and their action, and here today we are going to discuss the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Africa qualifier that just ended a couple of days ago. Zimbabwe, the king of Africa, the queens of Africa, if that's the way it should be put. But they have qualified for the global qualifiers, and we saw Scotland do it in that Europe qualifier. Africa have done it from this region. Welcome to the associate angle, and I have two people to discuss and talk more cricket with. Of course, Ananya Upendran and also Priyanjali Jain of Associate Women in Cricket. Yeah, welcome, ladies. First
Hi,
up,
sir.
let's start by talking about Zimbabwe, the champions. Clearly, one of the stronger teams. We expected them to make the finals. Priyanjali, let's start with you. Your thoughts on Zimbabwe, and did you expect the win?
I think I did. I think they were very, very consistent throughout the tournament. I think, very steady performances by both the batsmen and the bowlers. So I think they were very consistent throughout. I thought Namibia had a good chance because, again, they won all of their games up until the finals. And I thought they had a good chance because, again, they also have some very solid batsmen there. But in the end, I think Zimbabwe just sort of held their ground better.
Indeed, and we kind of spoke about it in the preview that they are the clear favorite. They were the clear favorites. I think we kind of counted Namibia to we push them closer, but tournament went on expected lines for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we said this in the preview as well that it was more likely that Zimbabwe would be the team to qualify from this region. I think they were very clinical through the tournament. I think the bowlers were the standout. The batters kind of weren't up to the mark, maybe, or as clinical as they could have been, considering they came off a series against Thailand. But the bowlers kind of got them through the tournament, and they won those crucial moments, which was key. In that semi-final against Uganda, they were up against it. I didn't think they would get anywhere near 100 in that semi-final, but the big players stood up when it counted, and that's what happens with champion teams. So expected lines, but I feel like Namibia, they just fell flat, I suppose.
Yeah, Namibia are indeed a talking point because in Kwibuka T20 tournament, which was in June, they were the clear favorites in terms of their performances as well as by lieu of their rankings. But they somehow found a way to falter in the final, Ananya. And here they are. Here we are. They yet again kind of finished second. Are they the second best, you think?
Well, they clearly are the second best, and the only consolation for me is that I did not predict they would win. So, I'm safe this tournament, and I don't have to kind of eat my words. But look, Namibia again. I feel like the big players didn't turn up in this tournament. Kaylin Green was their highest run getter, great, but the openers, a lot more was expected of them. And Francois van der Merwe, in the lead up to the tournament, had said that our batting is our Achilles heel, and the openers will have to deliver. And Sune Whitman and Audrey van der Merwe weren't quite up to the mark. They weren't consistent enough. Sune Whitman did get a half century, but that was all. I think she had a quiet tournament, and even Yasmin Khan as well. So when your top order isn't quite firing, it's hard for your bowlers to make up for it. They did, drag them into that final, but they weren't as good as Zimbabwe. And I guess at the end of the day, you can't really help it. They really need to improve, and hopefully the batters deliver eventually.
Yeah, indeed. The likes of Audrey van der Merwe, Sune Whitman, as Ananya mentioned, Kaylin Green as well, and Arasta Dheergaard. All these people lit up the Kwibuka T20 tournament, Priyanjali, and there they were almost the clear favorites. But somehow you kind of felt, didn't you, that here in the Africa qualifier, they kind of were a notch below than what they would have liked to be.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I mean it's not uncommon. Honestly, I've seen it with teams on a big stage. You don't always perform your 100%, which is why you try and train to your 200%, so you fall at 100%. But really, everyone ends up performing at their 70, 80%. There's a lot of nerves, a lot of pressure as well at that time. I mean, I definitely expected a little bit more from the batsmen as well. We also saw Yasmin Khan, for instance, do very well in the Kwibuka tournament. She wicket kept well, I thought, which something I guess as a wicketkeeper, I always look out for the wicket keepers, and I think they make a difference too. But yeah, I think they did fall short. The only thing I do see, and I think it's a positive for everyone who loves to watch cricket, is that we saw some very good performances. And I think if you look at the top four teams, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Tanzania, and Uganda, Nigeria to some extent as well, I would say there's a lot of potential there. So I think African cricket has a bright future ahead. Is what I see from is the takeaway that I have from this tournament.
Indeed. But talking about the finalists, Ananya, do you have picks for performers from Zimbabwe and Namibia? Someone or some of those who might have impressed you, caught your eye during this tournament? Because these two are one of the better prepared teams, if we can say so. They played the Zimbabwe, of course, played Thailand as you mentioned. Namibia part of the Pivuka as well. Did any performances kind of catch your eye from these two sides?
Well, I think, I mean, if you look at the highest run getters and the top wicket takers, the likes of Mupachikwa and Lauren Fure, the off spinner, will be the standouts. But for me, someone who actually helped Zimbabwe win those big moments was Precious Marange, the off spinner, the left-handed batter who came in, especially in that semi-final, scored a quick fire 40, I think, of 25 balls when Zimbabwe had their backs to the wall. So for me, despite her not finishing in the top wicket takers or as the top run getter for Zimbabwe, I think Precious Marange was the standout player for me. And if I had to pick one of the things that really stood out was her catch in that final to dismiss, I think it was Kaylina and Green. I think that kind of shifted the momentum in favor of Zimbabwe. So she stood up every time her team called her, and yeah, so she would be my performer for Zimbabwe.
Right, indeed. 11 teams, remember, 11 teams contested the Africa qualifier, divided into groups of two, one group of six, the other of five. And so we are kind of picking up top performers and top teams to discuss on the review show on the Associate Angle. But moving on, Tanzania and Uganda, Priya, they kind of were almost there, but not really. Finished
Yeah.
second in each of those groups, losing just one game. Your thoughts on how the tournament went by for them?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it was so close for them in the semifinals as well as the games before as well. They could have really made it to the finals. But I think that's the beauty of cricket. You really don't know till the last ball what's going to happen. And, it can be a matter of one run. It could be a matter of one wicket or literally 1 meter if it's a run out, right? So, or 1 centimeter. So, yeah, I think they really did, fight it out as much as possible. But in the end, they did fall short. But I'm sure they have a lot to take away in terms of what are their key areas that they want to work on for the next tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Ananya, how much does this stat tell you that the leading run scorer in this tournament is from Tanzania, Fatuma Kibasu, and yet they couldn't kind of cross the line, or as you said, as Priya also said, they almost were there but not really. So does this actually tell the entire story there?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the top five run getters, I think three are from Tanzania. Top five wicket takers, two are from their team. So it's kind of a case of they had individuals standing up through the tournament, but it didn't quite come together in those big moments. And at the end of the day, as much as we celebrate the individuals in cricket, it is a team game. It is about winning those crucial moments. It is about making those small contributions that sometimes aren't the standout performances, but you need your entire team to step up on the day. So I guess at the end of the day, what these stats kind of underline is that cricket is a team game and you can't win it on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those two centurions in the competition, Fatuma Kibasu, and the other one, of course, Giselle Ishime of Rwanda. But moving on, Cameroon was one of the teams that made their debut in this competition as well as in international cricket. Their debut was delayed because of a COVID positive case. They kind of had to delay their games. But Ananya, they had the Twitter world or the social media world talking, and not for reasons actually cricket. I mean, not for usual reasons, but the unusual ones. You'd want to tell us all about that?
Yeah, well, I think it was one game where they got 4 wickets by running out the non-striker, and that kind of became their signature through the tournament, where they kept attempting that. And it was Meva Duma, I think, who was the bowler on all 4 occasions in that one game. And I read an interview after, or in the middle of the qualifiers, where she came out and said, well, it's a legal dismissal, and we thought we'd just use it to our advantage. So I think that's extremely smart. And look, I'm all for getting the non-striker run out. I don't understand why batters have to gain the extra ground. It's not fair. Because if a bowler kind of oversteps by a millimeter, it's a no ball. The batter gets a free hit. So why do you allow batters to gain their ground? And what I just did not understand was that the opposition teams who knew that Cameroon were doing this just kept leaving their ground. So it wasn't like any team learned from what was happening elsewhere. So it was kind of inexplicable, but I'm all for Cameroon. I think every team should kind of follow in their footsteps. And I know a lot of people came out and said that this is not the way it should be, that spirit of cricket and this and that. But look, at the end of the day, it's a legal dismissal, and all power to Cameroon.
Yeah,
Yeah, you need to also tell. Yeah. Go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say I have to agree with that, because I mean, even though as a batsman, I would still say that yeah, it's an unfair advantage if you're getting to walk, that extra distance, and really it's not that difficult. I would say it's on the opposing team that are losing their wickets to this. The question to ask is, why are you not paying attention to what's happening in the game, right? If you can see that this bowler is constantly doing that, just wait for the delivery to be bowled. So I think it's absolutely fair.
Yeah, I was just going to come to you, kind of moving away from this, and how much of the running out non-striker and some these stuff feature in your team plannings, because this also tells everybody that there are rules in place and these teams are aware of it, because in the associate angle we are talking about the associate teams and not the mainstream ones. So to see that such rules have been filtered down, how much of these plannings are held in your team meetings?
I think, see, what I will say is it comes down to match awareness, right? And the more matches you play, even like for us here in the UAE, we play a lot of matches with the boys, for instance. And I think the more and more you play, the more aware you get, because certain situations come up for the first time for you, maybe. And especially, for young players, we have a lot of players who are 13, 14, 15 years old, right? Playing cricket for the first time. And, it's only when a particular situation comes up that they're like, oh, this is actually what the rule is. I didn't even think of this. I think someone who's like the benchmark of match awareness is MSD, right? I mean, he's probably the most aware that someone can be on a cricket field. So I think it's really something to learn from, that he's created opportunities when there was no opportunity there. It's not the batsman, it's not the bowler that created it. It's really, he created those opportunities. So I think it's the same thing. I think in team meetings, coaches, assistant coaches, they do try and help the team out with understanding these things. But a lot of times you learn it on the field. It's not something that, you're going to get a booklet saying, okay, these are the ways you can get out. These are things you should be aware of. It just comes from experience.
Yeah, indeed. For those of you who are quiz whiz, just have this Cameroon and the running out of the non-strikers. And Meva Duma is the player 4 times in one game against Uganda. So this could come handy if you're watching this, and you could thank us later. But moving on, let's move on to the final. Let's kind of move towards the end of this chatter. And Priya, your moment of the tournament, or any performances that kind of still stick by in your memory, or the kind of the based on what you've seen in this competition.
I'm so sorry, your voice was. Can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, your pick for the moment of the tournament, or a performance that you would want to pick as your favorite, or the something that sticks by in your memory.
Sure. I mean, there were a lot of good performances with the bat, with the ball, but for some reason, the one that sticks in my mind is Blessing Etam, who's from Nigeria, and she actually had an over where it was 4 overs, 0 runs, 4 wickets. So that sort of is something that stuck in my mind.
And yeah, your pick, is there a moment, is there a performer that's kind of still in your mind?
Well, I'm gonna stick with team bowler, not team pacer, unfortunately, but Shamila Maso's double hat trick. I think it was lots of fun to watch, not just because all 4 wickets were bowled, but also the celebrations of the entire team, where they kind of flocked after she got the third wicket, and then the fourth wicket was almost disbelief on everyone's faces. So that was lots of fun to watch. But additionally, I think I was very, very impressed with the way Giselle Ishimwe batted. I think we watched her in that Kubuka T20 tournament, and you could see glimpses that she had a lot of power, that she was very proactive. But I think the improvement that not just her but Rwanda have shown since then, coming into this tournament, has been huge, and I was very, very impressed with her as well.
Right, there you go. Zimbabwe have won the Africa qualifier, and they have kind of sealed their spot in the global qualifier. This was all about the ICC Women's T20 World Cup Africa qualifier that ended Sunday. Thanks, Priyanjali, for your time. Thanks, Ananya, for discussing this tournament on the Associate Angle. And for those of you watching, hope you enjoyed it. And till the next time, take care, stay safe.